What if I told you that one day, your dog will look at you for the last time, not knowing it's the last walk, the last cuddle, the last time hearing your voice? And in that moment, what do you think they'll be thinking about? Most people believe dogs spend their lives thinking about food, but science suggests something much deeper. Because researchers have discovered that the most important thing in a dog's life isn't food, isn't toys, isn't comfort. It's a person. And what's even more surprising, dogs may spend their entire lives preparing for that final goodbye without us ever realizing it. By the end of this video, you'll understand why the last thought a dog has may not be about where they lived, or what they owned, or even what they did. It may be about the person who became their entire world. And if that's true, there's a chance that person is you. But to understand why, we first need to answer a much deeper question. What does a dog actually think of its owner? Number 1. What do dogs remember? Before we can understand a dog's final thoughts, we need to answer a different question. What do dogs actually remember? Most people assume dogs remember the biggest moments, the long walks, the vacations, the expensive toys, the special treats. But that's not what surprised scientists. Because when researchers began studying canine memory, they discovered something strange. Dogs often don't remember life the way humans do. Humans tend to remember events. Dogs seem to remember feelings. Think about your own dog for a moment. Out of the thousands of days you've spent together, which moments do you think matter most? The day you bought them a toy? The day you took them somewhere special? Maybe. But what if the memories your dog values most aren't the moments you remember at all? What if they're the moments you barely noticed? The morning you sat beside them when they were scared. The day you comforted them during a thunderstorm. The moment you came back when they thought you were gone. The night they slept peacefully because you were nearby. To you, those moments may seem ordinary. To your dog, they may have been unforgettable. Because dogs don't just remember what happened. They remember how it felt. And that's where this story becomes surprisingly emotional. Because if a dog's strongest memories are emotional memories, then the most important thing they remember may not be a place, or an object, or an event. It may be a person, you. And once that idea takes hold, everything your dog does starts looking different. Because suddenly, those quiet moments don't seem so small anymore. They're becoming memories. The kind of memories that stay. Number 2. The moments they never forget. If dogs remember feelings more than events, then something surprising becomes possible. The memories that matter most to your dog may not be the memories that matter most to you. Think about that for a moment. You might remember the day you bought them their favorite toy, the day you took them on a special trip, the day you bought them a comfortable new bed. But your dog may remember something completely different. A moment when they were frightened, and you stayed beside them. A moment when they were alone, and you came back. A moment when they were uncertain, and you made them feel safe. Because dogs don't measure life the way humans do. They measure life through emotion. And the stronger the emotion, the stronger the memory. That's why many rescue dogs never forget the person who first made them feel safe. It's why some dogs recognize owners after years apart. And it's why your dog may remember certain feelings long after the event itself is gone. Which raises an interesting question. If emotional memories are the ones that last longest, which feeling becomes the strongest memory of all? Because the answer may explain why one person eventually becomes more important to a dog than anyone else. Number 3. When you become their safe place. Now here's where things become emotional. Because dogs don't just remember feelings. They start connecting those feelings to people. Think about your own dog for a moment. Whenever something unexpected happens, who do they look for? A loud thunderstorm, fireworks, a strange visitor, an unfamiliar place. Many dogs instinctively look toward the person they trust most. Not because that person can stop the storm, not because they can change the situation, but because their presence changes how the dog feels. And over time, that feeling becomes incredibly important. Every time you comfort your dog when they're afraid, you're creating a memory. Every time you return home, you're creating a memory. Every time you sit beside them when they don't feel well, you're creating a memory. Most of these moments seem ordinary to us. We forget them within days, sometimes within hours. But your dog experiences them differently. Because dogs pay attention to something humans often overlook. Consistency. Who shows up? Who stays? Who makes them feel safe when life becomes uncertain? And after years of shared experiences, those feelings begin attaching themselves to one person. You. That's why dogs often seem calmer when their favorite person is nearby. They're usually about someone. Someone who made the world feel less frightening. Someone who became a source of comfort simply by being there. Eventually, you stop being just another person in your dog's life. You become their safe place. And once that happens, something remarkable occurs. The most important memories they create begin leading back to the same person over and over again. Which raises an interesting question. If your dog's strongest memories all point toward one person, what happens when they think about the moments that mattered most? Number 4. The memories that matter most. Here's something fascinating. If you asked a human to describe the most important moments of their life, they would probably list major events, graduations, vacations, achievements, life milestones. But dogs don't experience life that way. Because to a dog, the moments that matter most are often the moments that feel most meaningful. Not the biggest moments, the deepest ones. Think about your dog's life. Out of the thousands of days you've spent together, what do you think they remember most? The expensive toy you bought 3 years ago? Probably not. The brand of food you fed them last month? Almost certainly not. But the way you made them feel? That may be a different story. Imagine a dog lying awake during a thunderstorm, the house shaking with noise, the sky flashing outside. Everything feels frightening. Then someone sits beside them. A familiar voice, a familiar touch, a familiar presence. Suddenly the fear becomes smaller. Not because the storm stopped, but because someone they trust is there. To us, it might seem like an ordinary moment. To the dog, it could become unforgettable, because emotional moments leave a different kind of mark. And over time, those moments begin forming a pattern that keeps pointing toward the same person. The person who comforted them, the person who protected them, the person who came back. Again and again. Think about how many times your dog has watched you leave. Hundreds, maybe thousands. And yet most dogs still get excited when their owner returns. Every single time. Why? Because every reunion reinforces the same emotional lesson. This person came back. I'm safe again. And with every repetition, that emotional bond grows stronger, until eventually, the person is no longer just part of the memory. They become the reason the memory matters. And that's where things become surprisingly emotional. Because when dogs look back on the experiences that shaped their lives, a feeling connected to one face, one voice, one person, which leads to an even deeper question. If the most important memories in a dog's. Part 5. The feeling that stays. By now, a pattern is becoming clear. The memories that matter most to your dog aren't connected by toys, or treats, or places. They're connected by a feeling that appears again and again throughout their life. Safety. Think about the moments that shaped your dog's world. The day they were scared and you comforted them. The day they were lonely and you came back. The day they needed reassurance and found it beside you. To us, these moments may seem small, but to a dog, they can become unforgettable. Because dogs don't just remember what happened, they remember how it felt. And over time, something remarkable begins to happen. Your dog stops associating safety with a place. They start associating it with a person. You, your voice, your presence, your return. Your dog may not remember every detail of every day, but the feeling you gave them, that stays. And if that feeling becomes one of the strongest memories in their life, then we're getting closer to answering the question we started with. Because when everything else fades into the background, what remains? And who does that feeling lead back to? Number 6. You became home. And now we arrive at something most dog owners never realize. For years, your dog has been building a picture of what home feels like. At first, that picture may have been simple. A warm place to sleep, food, comfort, familiar surroundings. But as time passed, something changed. Because the feeling of home stopped being connected to a place. It started becoming connected to a person. You. Think about it. Have you ever taken your dog somewhere completely unfamiliar? A new city, a new park, a hotel, a relative's house. Everything around them is different. Different smells, different sounds, different surroundings. And yet many dogs remain surprisingly calm. Why? Because the thing that matters most came with them. You. The place changed, but their sense of security didn't. Because security was never really about the place. It was about the person. And that's one of the most beautiful things about the bond between dogs and humans. Your dog doesn't need a perfect house. They don't need a perfect life. They don't need everything to go exactly right. What they need most is the feeling they've spent years associating with safety. The feeling they've spent years associating with comfort. The feeling they've spent years associating with love. And eventually, that feeling becomes inseparable from the person who gave it to them. Which means something remarkable happens. When your dog thinks about safety, they think about you. When your dog thinks about comfort, they think about you. When your dog thinks about belonging, they think about you. Not consciously, not in words, but through the emotional associations they've built throughout their entire life. Thousands of ordinary moments, thousands of small experiences, all quietly teaching the same lesson. This person is home. And if that's true, then the answer to our original question may be much simpler than most people imagine. Because perhaps the last thought a dog has isn't a specific memory at all. Perhaps it isn't about a favorite toy, or a favorite walk, or a favorite place. Perhaps it's simply the feeling that mattered most. The feeling of being safe. The feeling of being loved. The feeling of being home. But there's one final piece of this story we haven't talked about yet. Because understanding a dog's last thought requires understanding something even deeper. Number 7. Science may have already given us the answer. We've talked about memory. We've talked about attachment. We've talked about safety. Now let's talk about what science actually tells us. Researchers studying dog-owner relationships have discovered something remarkable. Dogs don't simply recognize their owners. They form attachment bonds with them. In fact, studies have found that dogs use their owners as a secure base, a source of safety that helps them explore the world and cope with uncertainty. Think about what that means. For years, your dog has been learning the same lesson. When they're scared, you help them feel safe. When they're uncertain, you help them feel calm. When they're alone, you come back. And every one of those experiences strengthens the bond. That's why scientists believe dogs don't simply become attached to what we provide. They become attached to us. The person, the relationship, the feeling. Which brings us back to the question we started with. What is the last thought a dog has about its owner? The honest answer is that no researcher can climb inside a dog's mind and hear its thoughts. But attachment science gives us a powerful clue. Because when dogs form their strongest emotional memories, those memories consistently lead back to the same place. The person they trust, the person they depend on, the person who became their secure base, the person who made them feel safe. You. And if the strongest memories in your dog's life are connected to safety, and safety is connected to you, then the most important thing your dog carries through life may never have been a toy, or a treat, or a place. It was the relationship, the bond, the connection, the feeling of being loved by someone they trusted completely. Which means the final answer may be much simpler than we imagined. Your dog may not spend their last moments thinking about what they had. They may be focused on who they had. The person who became home. The person who became safety. The person who became their world. And if you've loved your dog well, there's a very good chance that person was you. One day, your dog will look at you for the last time. Neither of you will know it's the last time. The last walk. The last cuddle. The last time they hear your voice. The last time they rest their head beside you. And that's what makes the relationship between dogs and humans so extraordinary. Dogs don't know how much time they have. They don't know which moment will be their last. So they treat ordinary moments like they matter. Because to them, they do. The walk around the block. The quiet evening on the couch. The moment you come home. The moment you say their name. The moment you simply sit beside them. Those aren't small moments to a dog. Those moments are life. And maybe that's the lesson they've been trying to teach us all along. To slow down. To pay attention. To stop rushing through the moments that seem ordinary. Because one day, those ordinary moments become memories. Your dog may never remember every toy you bought, every treat you gave, or every place you visited together. But they'll remember how you made them feel. Safe, loved, protected, home. And if science is right, those feelings may become some of the strongest memories they carry throughout their entire life. Which means the greatest gift you can give your dog isn't a perfect life. It's your presence. Because to your dog, you were never just their owner. You were their safe place, their favorite person. If this video made you think differently about your relationship with your dog, let us know in the comments. What do you think your dog remembers most about you?